Welcome to Positive Waves, everybody. My name is Matthew Collinson. This is my great friend.
Joseph Soma.
And today we have Joey on. And Joey is a friend of mine from Facebook. He is a person who's been spreading positivity, and he is a manifestation teacher. So I wanted to have him on our podcast to spread some positive waves, and now he's here and we're going to have a conversation about what that looks like.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here. How you all doing? I hope you guys are having a beautiful day or night, depending on where you're located.
Exactly. Perfect. So tell us a little more about your journey, Joey. How did you kind of start going towards that manifestation side of energy and thought process?
Well, I first started at a young age, 2014. 2011. I was 14 years old, and I started very young. I've always been kind of an imaginative type of person, but I grew up in a very scarcity mindset type of background. A lot of fear, a lot of doubt, a lot of worry. So I remember when I was 14, all of that kind of accumulated into me being in the state, excuse me, of just really bad anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts and whatnot. And I remember one specific night, well, early morning, it was like 1:30 in the morning. It was over the summer, freshman year of high school. And I remember that the feeling it was so intense on that particular day, more so than it had ever been before. And I remember I had a big butcher's knife to my throat in the bathroom. It's like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like crying. I have no faith in life at that point in time. I just feel like ending it and just feel like done. And I remember I had this little voice in my head. At the time, I wasn't sure what it was. Now I understand that that was my own inner source guiding me. But I had a little voice pop in my head that pretty much told me along the lines of, you have a life worth living, and there's more to life than this. So I felt an impulse to put that knife down and take my ass, pardon my language, into my room. And I went on YouTube, and the literal first video that I saw was a video labeled "The Power of the Subconscious Mind" by Greg Braden. I believe it was about a 28, 29-minute video. And I watched that video a couple of times. I must have watched that video until like 4 in the morning a couple of times. And from there, every time I would go on YouTube, I would start seeing more suggestions involving like the subconscious mind, the power of the subconscious mind. And then that led me down the rabbit hole of learning about different things and ancient teachings and traditions, and for a while, for like a couple of years, I was involved with like learning about the chakra systems. And then, excuse me, I learned about like the law of attraction more in depth. And then I ended up learning about the law of assumption, Neville Goddard's teachings. More recently, I got introduced to Neville Goddard, the law of assumption, his teachings, in like January of 2020. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. I've spent a lot of years just practicing this stuff, but I've also spent a lot of years just accumulating the knowledge involving this stuff. And I've had my ups, I've had my downs, but I'm grateful for every second of it because it led me to this point in time and who I am right now. And I'm very happy with my life and who I am, and I'm very confident in that knowing involving who I am, and still expanding, of course. But yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Joe, you look like you got thoughts going.
No,
Yeah.
I can totally relate on the suicidal aspect. And for me, I didn't get a voice. I actually pulled the trigger, and the gun didn't fire for me. So you do it once, it's like, okay, what happened here? You do it twice, it's like, all right, I got a fucking purpose. Like I'm meant to be here, and that right there hit my heart. And I was gonna ask you, a lot of us deal with depressions and emotional, mental issues and things of that nature, and a lot of us don't know how to properly deal with it. But it comes from somewhere. And I wanted to ask you, does yours come from within, or did it come from outside sources, or was it a combination of both?
I believe looking back that it was a combination of both. I
Yeah,
definitely do. Because there was a lot of stuff that was happening in my exterior world that were influencing myself as a whole. But there was also a lot of things that I was deliberately clinging on to and intentionally, replaying in my mind. It's just I had a severe lack of mindfulness back in that time, and it did take me a while to accumulate the mindfulness necessary to be willing to stay on top of things inside of my own self. It took a while. I remember when I first learned about this stuff, it wasn't like one of those things where I was just immediately applying. I spent the better part of like 5 or 6 years just learning
yeah,
and just learning and learning. And it wasn't around that until that midway point, because we're talking like 12 plus years here. It wasn't around that midpoint that I was like, okay, maybe it's finally time to start applying this stuff and start making changes necessary. So for the first like 6 years, although I was aware of this, I was still but wasn't being mindful. Um, and I think this is why I tell people that just because you're aware of this stuff and you become aware of it doesn't automatically mean that everything's gonna shift. You still gotta be willing to put that inner work in, so to speak.
that's
So
why we like to
yeah, I
call them
hope that
tools.
answers your question. I,
That's why we like to
yeah,
call them tools,
and
because
and
a
and
tool isn't beneficial if if you don't use it, it's not going to help you. So,
exact,
yeah, I love how you said. I also love how you said
exactly.
that it took years. We're not broken overnight. It's accumulation of shit that piles up and piles up and piles up. So be
Yep.
kind. We say it all the time. Be kind with yourself. You're not going to fix yourself overnight. Like I've spoken in another video where it took me years to even take that little itty bitty minuscule positive thing that I could find in my life of living health and turn it into a daily positive thought. And it took years. And I love how I'm not the only one saying that. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
for also instilling that in our viewers that, hey, be kind. It takes a while. Work at it. Work
Yeah.
on it. And like you said, you
Absolutely.
may have learned the stuff, but you didn't put the tools to use until one day you're like, why am I not doing more with these great freaking bits of knowledge that I've obtained?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. And I just wanted to say as well, I'm glad and very happy that you're still here with us.
As well as you. We all have a purpose here, and sometimes we get clouded with other people's judgments that we can't even hear our own reasons to live our best life.
Very, very true. Completely agree with that.
Yeah. So I'm excited you said that too. And Joe, yes, of course, I'm so glad you're here, man. I love you, dude. I'm so glad we met. We've had a great relationship over the past couple of years. Uh,
It happens when you shift.
it is. It is.
But
Uh,
okay, and you're
that's
worth it.
exactly what Jim Rohn talks about as well. Are you familiar with his work at all, Jim Rohn?
I am not as much as the next person, but when I was doing my research over those couple of years, I feel like I came across everybody, man.
Yeah.
Some people more than others, but yeah, Jim is one of those people that I am familiar with, but not as much as the next person.
No worries, no worries. The point of that is that he also, in one of his speeches, I don't even know which one at this point. I've listened to too many of them, but he goes into how it doesn't happen overnight. You have to keep going and keep doing the actions, keep doing the habits, keep doing the reading, keep doing the studying if you want to have a result over time. After some time, the seed grows a decade,
Yep.
15, 20 years, like it really starts to apply to your life. And I think it takes more than a decade at least to get into this kind of thinking a lot of times. Like you can do it instantaneously, but you have to spend the time doing it every day.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the modernized community teachings in this day and age, especially over the last couple of years, I've noticed a
Hmm.
trend in need for instant gratification and instantaneous results. And although that may be cool, I I would rather take myself down the path of doing the inner work so that I know I can sustain myself
Boom.
and sustain the thing when it comes in, but more so myself. Because that's a big issue too that I used to deal with. I don't know if you guys have dealt with this at any point in your own journey, but I was all about instant gratification and this need for instant satisfaction, and I ended up getting that a lot of the times. I ended up getting these things that I wanted, and even my own self, like these instantaneous results or these very fast and quick results, but they would hardly ever last. And I got myself into a cycle over and over and over again. And it finally took me to understand that the reason why they're not lasting is because I'm not actually shifting myself, not actually applying the teachings for myself to improve myself. I'm doing this to mainly just to get something, among other things, of course. So I completely agree. If you're not willing to do this inner work, then it's kind of like I don't really know what to tell you. You're probably not gonna benefit in the most. I mean, I guess in the most beneficial way. You know.
I
Well,
agree.
like anything, how much energy do you put into it? If you half-ass something, do you expect to, get a whole ass out of it? No. You half-ass it, you're getting half-ass out of it. Like the amount of energy you put in is the amount of energy you get back. So if you're looking for that 30-second video instant gratification, yay, life is great, and then 2 minutes later you're crashing again, it's like a drug addict seeking that high. They're constantly going after that high, and it's never as good as the first time. But if they actually took the time to put the energy into themselves and realize they're way better off, doing it without those outside influences, you can live a great life. And for me,
Oh
one of
man,
those instant gratifications was drug use. I used that to, cover up a lot of crap in my life that I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to work through that. There was no spiritual guru saying, "Hey, come with me, young man. Let me show you how we do it here in the ancient ways instead of the Western medical ways."
right, right. I very much resonate with that. That hit me deep when when you use that example for the with the drug addiction. That was deep because I used alcohol for many years in my life as a coping mechanism all throughout high school,
Mm.
from like 2011 to 2016. And so that hit me deep. That definitely hit me deep because I completely understand and resonate with that.
I started when I was 13, so I
Yeah.
was was that in high school yet? That might have been eighth grade. I don't know. But yeah, I started drowning my sorrows and covering up my pains with whatever I could find for that instant gratification. And I spent
Hmm.
many years and it never worked. And like Matthew said, it takes a good decade for most of this to work. And I do agree with that, but at a sense, I think it depends on how much emotional stuff you've got to work through. I mean, if we've only have a couple things that broke us, then that's not too much to work through, and it could be huge, and it may take longer than I'm saying. But at the same time, when you've got 30 years of damage, that's 30 years of damage to work through. If you got 2 years of damage, that's less than 30. So don't put a time limit on it is what I'm getting to.
No time.
It may take you 10 years or it may take you 20 minutes. Everybody's different. And we have to not look at others. I mean, we can look at others for influence on how to work through things, but ultimately what resonates with us is not going to be what resonates with another. So we have to find our own ways to work through some of those damage points. But we have people like Matthew, myself, and Joseph here to say, hey, let me help you by showing you how the fuck I got unstuck from that situation.
Boom.
Exactly,
So I have a
exactly.
question for you, because you're a manifestation teacher. Would you like to entertain bringing people, whoever listens to this, essentially through an exercise that you use to help people start to manifest?
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, you asking me or
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. There's a breathing exercise that I practice a lot, most oftentimes. And I actually, it's funny that you mentioned this because I feel like I'm having having a pushed out kind of moment here because I was literally talking about this with the client a little bit before I hopped on this chat right here. And I actually posted a video on this on TikTok as well, but it's a breathing exercise that I oftentimes practice. Now, I later found that they actually practice this in the military as well. I think it's called the boxing method or something like that. I know it as the fourfold breath.
The box breath.
And what I do is I mix visualization. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I wasn't aware of the terminology until I became aware of it yesterday. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool that the military teaches this. But I incorporate visualization with it too. So what I do is I'll have people, in through the nose for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, remain still for 4 seconds. Now here's the thing: when I have them breathe in, I have them, close their eyes, center themselves. I'll have them have some meditation sounds playing lightly in the background. And I'll have them, whether they want to lay down or if they want to stand right up, or sit up, I should say. I'll have them imagine that as they're breathing in just pure, beautiful, glittering white light. And this white light is going to symbolize God force energy. It's going to symbolize love and all things positive. And I'm going to have them imagine that they're breathing in this white light, and every breath, imagine them, it's soaking them through. And when they exhale, I imagine that they're exhaling a kind of like a black fog, like a black smog. And that's going to represent their fears, their worries, their anxieties, their depressions, their doubts. So they're breathing in this beautiful, glittering God force energy, and they're exhaling all of the doubts, all of the pain, all of the worry, and so on.
All
And
the toxicities.
yeah, that's something that I've practiced for a while. That's something that I still continue to practice. And a lot of my clients and people that I've just casually worked with and helped, this has helped them. So, people have their own spin on it sometimes, but for the most part, it has a pretty high success rate. And it has yet to fail me, and I don't think it ever will. So, if you guys want to test that out, feel free.
Joey, as a 5D breathwork practitioner, I would love for you to literally walk us through. I know we can't really get the audio up and going in a split second, but if you want to just walk us through the breath and the visualization, that would be amazing. Like I love doing breath work, and I love when other people guide me because I just go deep, man. So I
Yeah,
would love for
I
you
know
to
I
walk
feel
us
you on
through.
that. Yeah, yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah, this is a good opportunity because I've never actually walked someone through an exercise live on this. So this is pretty cool. So what I would do literally is for me, I'm the type of individual, I like to lay on my back when I meditate. I don't ever worry about, if you guys happen to do notice that you're nodding off and passing out, like that's fine. um just do your best to get back to it. When you start training your mind, you'll start naturally just knowing to keep yourself awake while you're doing it. But at least that's been my experience. But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll lay down and I'll have some meditation sounds playing in my earbuds, or like off my phone, and I'll just quiet the mind. I'll close my eyes, and I love placing take my hand and I place both of them across my chest because it gets me into my heart space. And I'll just quiet the mind, and I'll take a deep breath. And as I'm breathing in, I'm imagining pure white light. So in through the nose, and exhale. And just allow your mind to remain still, allow your body to remain still. And as you exhale, you imagine that black fog. This is going to represent your doubts, your fears. So you're inhaling this beautiful white light. And you're exhaling all the fear, all the doubt. Oh, yeah. Just allow yourself to remain still. And you practice that a couple times, couple repetitions, and it works very, very effectively. And it works very, very fast, at least for me. You know, all it takes for me sometimes is just a couple of repetitions for this in a very focused, centered way. And boom, I'm in that place of relaxation. I'm in that place of comfortability and stability within myself. And the visualization I like incorporating with it because um I like visualization. I'm not exactly the greatest manifester when it comes to visualization, um meaning I'm not exactly the greatest visualizer, but I do like visualizing from time to time. And I like the white light because it's easy for people to imagine something like that. It's easy to close your eyes and see either black or white, so that's why I like using those different variations. And it's just it's a fun thing to do, and you could do it at any point. You could do it at work, guys. This is a simple thing. It does not take too long. We're talking like what 4 times 4, 4, 8, 12, 16 seconds, maybe 20 seconds at most. You know what I'm saying?
Or if you
I agree.
prefer 5 seconds, like I was taught the box breath can be 4, 5, 7, whatever works best for
Yeah.
you. And with me being such a big guy, I got a huge lung capacity, so I'm more of the 5 to 7 seconds. But like you
Yeah.
said, you can do it anywhere. You can take it anywhere. It's our breath. We do it naturally every day, but to do it
Yeah,
consciously
exactly.
brings so much healing and so much wonderful results. And for me, the breath work is one of my tricks or one of my keys that keeps me out of that ego, that keeps that negative mindset chatter shut the fuck up. So for me, the breath is something that I'm doing. Like if I go to the grocery store and it's packed, I have to breathe. I have to do those calming, relaxing breaths, or I'm not shopping that day. I'm waiting till later in the evening when everybody's out of there, when it's died down. So the breath is something that you can do anywhere and everywhere, and it will bring you to that center, it will bring you to that calm. And like you said,
Exactly.
it took us 16 seconds to do one round. And that 16 seconds, I had already felt calmer. My call before this was like, had me all jittery and shaky and stuff going on in the house. It was like, oh my God, there's so much energy going on. And that just
Yeah.
calmed me right down. I'm in that great place again. So thank you for walking us through. And I apologize for throwing you on the spot, being your first time doing it live, but you did
No,
amazing.
no,
Thank you.
I'm grateful for that. I love sharing this particular exercise because, like I said, it's I first came across it, oh gosh, well over 6 years ago, I would say, maybe even seven. Um, and it was when I was dabbling in the ancient mysticism of this world. You know what I'm saying? The ancient traditions involving manifestation of this world, that have been passed down and practiced for thousands and thousands of years. And I came across this ancient style of breath work. And like I said, in modernized teachings, I guess it's called the boxing breathing method. I know it as the fourfold breath, um, but same thing. But I've been practicing it ever since, and it's definitely helped me. And I hope it helps you guys too. I'm intending that it helps you guys. And yeah, so thank you for the opportunity for sharing that.
Yeah, man. It's
Appreciate it.
glad to have you on. So could you tell people a little bit on how to get a hold of you? I'll also leave links in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm pretty much everywhere, guys. It's pretty much all the same handle. I am God LOA. Across Twitter. No, excuse me, not Twitter. No more Twitter. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I don't like Twitter. Um, but YouTube, I am God LOA. Instagram, I am God LOA. Facebook, Joey Gallant. You can join my Facebook group, Live from the End. It is done. And my email is livefromtheend@yahoo.com.
Thank you for joining us today, Joey. I appreciate you
Absolutely.
so much. I love the love that you share. So thank you for spreading positive waves around the world, man.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Hopefully we could do this again sometime. You guys have been a real pleasure to talk to.
Got to throw out the wisdom of the rebel deck, and today's card pull is make better fucking choices. If you are pissed at where you are, then stop taking yourself there. How is
See
that
that
wisdom for this call?
that is in dude, that is in major alignment to like, wow, that's nuts. See, tarot's a very interesting thing.
Well, this one's an
I just
oracle
the
deck,
final
but
thoughts. Oh, Oracle. Okay. Yeah, the whole concepts of all of that have always fascinated me. I think they can be very helpful for people.
yeah, they're fun tools to use to help bring words to what is coming through from source. So
Exactly.
reading the oracle deck is great. I do have tarot deck. I just don't mess with it. It's something that I'm still needing to gain more knowledge on to not have to constantly revert back to the book and be like, oh, this is what this card is supposed to mean. So in time maybe, but for now I love doing the oracle decks because they're easy to read. The pictures come across what needs to come through, and it just makes life a little simpler.